It's Friday evening in the UK. I've finished work for the weekend. We've got Amir Khan versus Chris Algieri tonight. We've got the Eddie Hearn May the 30th card tomorrow. So it's big times ahead, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm going to talk in this video about Anthony Joshua versus Kevin Johnson. I put a video up about this initially when the fight was first made. I then covered it again in a video about 2 weeks ago when I talked that I thought that Kevin Johnson would win the fight. Now, I got a lot of comments on that video disagreeing with me. I had suggested there that I thought the best bet was Kevin Johnson to stay the trip, last the distance. In other words, I was suggesting betting against the Anthony Joshua KO. Now, there was a huge amount of comments saying that Johnson was too late in his career, Anthony Joshua was too powerful. You know, I had some guys who are regular viewers and are guys who I actually respect telling me that, you know, Anthony Joshua carries more power than Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko wasn't a one-punch knockout artist in the same way Joshua is. And it seems public perception is very much behind the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to make a statement and is going to KO Kevin Johnson. I've even got a bet with one of my subscribers that Anthony Joshua gets Kevin Johnson out within the first 6 rounds. I've said he won't. This subscriber has said he will. Now, having made such a confident early prediction, my confidence started to drop slightly. You know, everyone was disagreeing with me. Everyone was getting on the Joshua hype train. And, you know, I started to slightly moderate my opinion. But now, a few things have happened, and I am back to being exceptionally confident. Tomorrow is the night we will find out a lot of truths about Anthony Joshua. And in my opinion, and as they say on the Boxing Voice, I will eat my crow if I'm wrong here. But in my opinion, tomorrow night is the night Anthony Joshua gets exposed. And I think potentially in a big way. I rewatched Kevin Johnson versus Derek Chisora last night. And it is... You know, Kevin Johnson took that fight on short notice. He didn't train. And Kevin Johnson, for me, he's such a smooth, experienced operator. You know, even the first 30 seconds of the fight, the way he walks out, the way he measures the distance, the way he holds his hand out in a jab, you know, this guy is on a different level of ability to anyone Anthony Joshua has fought before. Now, quite frankly, Joshua's looked very good against the likes of Jason Gavern, you know, Michael Sprott, Konstantin Eretz, Zumbano Love. But put simply, if Kevin Johnson had been in with the Zumbano Loves, Kevin Johnson had been in with the Jason Gaverns, he'd still be an unbeaten fighter. I mean, this guy, Johnson, he's a smooth operator. Now, he's known to talk fights up. He's known to come out at press conferences and say that it's his time, you know, he's in the shape of his life, he's going for the knockout. Don't get me wrong, I am not saying Kevin Johnson is going to win the fight. I am not saying Kevin Johnson is going to beat Anthony Joshua. But what I am saying is Kevin Johnson is going to test Anthony Joshua in many, many different ways. This is a 10-round fight. In my opinion, this fight is very likely to go the distance. So we should get a real good test as to Anthony Joshua's stamina. We should get a real good test about how Anthony Joshua deals with a guy who can move, with a guy who has a jab. But most importantly, we're going to get a good test as to how Anthony Joshua deals with a slick, smooth, defensive operator with an excellent chin. Kevin Johnson is defensively elite. He is not going to be there to be hit like Anthony Joshua's previous opponents. And even if AJ does hit him, Johnson has ways of leaning and riding punches far above and beyond anything AJ's been in there before. Finally, even if Joshua does, you know, get through that and connect, Johnson's got an excellent chin. You know, very, very relevant is the fact that Kevin Johnson has been training with the Furies for this camp. He's been sparring with Tyson, Peter Fury's been training with him. You know, Kevin Johnson... And I heard an excellent interview on Bayloric TV last night. Shout out to Bayloric. Where Peter Fury was saying that he'd been training with Johnson. And Johnson has actually been training very hard. And I know Peter said that he'd only had 4 weeks with Kevin. But nevertheless, Kevin was in good shape. You know, he'd been putting the hours in. He was whipping himself up into good condition. I'm feeling that Kevin Johnson is motivated for this. You know, all the talk he's given at the press conference isn't once all talk. Now, I'm not saying he comes out to win, but I think he could give Joshua serious difficulties, because Joshua has never been in with somebody like Kevin Johnson. It's a massive step up. And if you listen to Dillian White, if you listen to James Ali Basir, it sounds like potentially when these guys sparred at Klitschko training camp, Kevin Johnson caused AJ a few problems then. I mean, let's not forget, this is the same Anthony Joshua who described Jason Gaverne as slippery defensively. Well, if you think Jason Gaverne is slippery, then Kevin Johnson is a bar of soap. Like, this guy is as slippery as they come. This guy went 12 rounds without being dropped by Vitaly Klitschko. This guy went 12 rounds without being dropped by Tyson Fury. You know, this guy is a solid fighter, a smooth technician, and highly experienced at the top level. You know, highly experienced at the top level. I don't think Joshua's going to be able to tee off on him like he's done on his previous opponents. And it's not necessarily to do with the fact that Kevin Johnson is moving like Usain Bolt, or due to the fact that Kevin Johnson has got a jab like Larry Holmes. But instead, it's the subtle things. It's the fact that Kevin Johnson moves and operates with angles and leans away from shots. And he's just a harder man to set your feet against and to throw your punches against than some of the heavyweights Joshua's been in with. Joshua is not he's not an elastic heavyweight in the sense that he throws punches, like he flicks punches out. He's quite rigid. He sets his feet. He throws, you know, quite straight punches. And I think against a guy like Kevin Johnson, who's angling and swaying all over the place, he's going to have more difficulty. Yeah, I firmly believe that Kevin Johnson goes the distance here. I'm not even suggesting the fight is competitive, but what I'm suggesting is that at the end of tomorrow night, there are possibly more questions than answers about Anthony Joshua, and it'll be unclear if he really is this sensation that a lot of people believe him to be. I'm confidently predicting Kevin Johnson goes the distance. I think Anthony Joshua is a less proven opponent than some of the guys like Tyson Fury, even Chisora. You know, Chisora had beaten higher level of opposition than Anthony Joshua before he fought Kevin Johnson. I think it's a big step up. I think Kevin Johnson, especially having trained with Peter Fury, still has enough left in the tank. And I think some severe questions are going to be asked of AJ tomorrow night. I'm going to be betting on Kevin Johnson. I will bet on Anthony Joshua to win on points and Kevin Johnson to win the fight. I'll take both options. If I get the right price, what I'll probably do is go on a gambling exchange and just lay the Joshua win by knockout, because I don't think Joshua is going to win by knockout. That might be the value play, lay Joshua by knockout. If not, I'll be taking Joshua points, Johnson win, and maybe a few quid on the draw. There's tidy margins here. You know, I've seen that Joshua is going to be something like I think it's something like 1-4 to win by knockout. You know, I'll be laying that all day. For me, you need a hammer to knock Kevin Johnson out. Derek Chisora did drop him, but Chisora dropped him with a sort of weird behind the head looping punch. Johnson got up. He wasn't actually hurt. He didn't actually look like he was about to get stopped, in my opinion. And he hadn't trained for that fight. It's going to be a different game now. I genuinely have bought into the Kevin Johnson chat. I know that's a risk, but I'm also not only just buying into the Kevin Johnson chat now, I'm buying into the Peter Fury chat, and I'm buying into the fact that Anthony Joshua has not fought anyone. Let me know your thoughts. It's a fascinating fight. We're going to learn a lot. I'm very, very much looking forward to this one.